Have you ever been overwhelmed as a DJ trying to perform too many features at the same time, and sometimes you maybe mistimed a transition or mistimed an effect or a feature? Well, have no fear. With now the DDJ-FLX10 mix point link feature, you're gonna have one less thing that you need to do, and that is finding your mix out and mix in point of tracks. And I love this feature. This is quickly becoming one of my favorite features on the DDJ-FLX10 for the very reason that there's now one less feature or button or transition that I need to perform, and I can now focus on other parts of the transition, which could be hopping on the microphone or adding beat effects or other sound color effects to my transitions. So this feature, the mix point link, is going to make it much more efficient as you as the DJ to keep and maintain your sets at an overall high level of energy. But before we begin, I have one small request of you, and that is to subscribe to the channel and also turn on the notifications bell so you do not miss a video related to the DDJ-FLX10 or the CDJ-3000 or music producer music business tutorials. I regularly upload videos to this channel, and it really helps to support me as a content creator to provide you with value. So now we're gonna bring my camera around, bird's eye view on top of the DDJ-FLX10, and I'm gonna show you my method for incorporating the mix point link feature, and also show you how to do this within Rekordbox DJ software as well. Okay, so one of my favorite features on the DDJ-FLX10 is the use of the mix point link feature, or mix point link buttons, which are these three buttons you see on both decks. And you'll need to use both the Rekordbox DJ software and the hardware most likely to set these buttons. And what this allows you to do is it allows you to identify a mix out point and a mix in point of two tracks. And then as soon as that mix out point is reached, it's gonna automatically trigger the mix in point here and start playing that track. So rather than timing your transitions and sometimes being off, this will allow you to be much more seamless and cohesive, and also optimized and efficient with your transitions, because rather than worrying about getting your timing right, it's gonna automatically time. It's effectively like a beat sync feature and pressing play at the same time. So it's doing multiple things at once for you. You are able to find your mix out and mix in points in advance, program the mix out and mix down points, and also activate the mix point link feature, which you will see highlighted at the bottom. It's gonna have this little green highlighted box right here with mix point link, and you'll see the green link button, but it must not be blinking for it to be activated, but you have to program this in the software, which I'm gonna show you in a minute. It'll be more intuitive when I show you on the software, but I first want to show you in the hardware so you know what's happening when you are actually behind the decks yourself. So what you're gonna do is, if you're playing a track out and you want to find that mix out point in advance, you're gonna go to the mix point link panel, and you're gonna use the inbound track to find that mix out point. And then once you find the mix out point with these arrows, then you're gonna select your cue point, then press link. Once that link button is no longer blinking, then it's gonna start automatically when it triggers. And what I'll show you in the software as well, see it's playing, so it's transitioning. So this is much faster. Another thing I'm going to show you is that you can also press shift and then link, and that's the silent feature. That's going to make the beats or the section prior to that mix in point silent, because if you don't have that silent feature activated, what will happen is the inbound track will actually start playing beforehand, which could be beneficial if it's beats, because then you can mix in the track and use the EQs. And so you basically have two options. You can either mute everything entirely, and that's if you want to surprise the audience, or if you want to have a more elongated transition, something that's a bit more seamless, then you don't have to make the section preceding silent, and it's going to mix the track from the very first part of the track, or the first beat of the track, or the first vocals or section of the track, wherever that track starts in terms of its audio. So that is the mix point link feature on the DDJ-FLX10. Now what we're going to do is I'm going to show you this in Rekordbox, which is much more intuitive because you'll be able to see everything visually, And because most people are visual learners, this will make a lot more sense to you. Okay, what's going on, Valoramous Vanguards? This is the Rekordbox DJ version 7.0 or above software screen. So what I'm going to show you here in this tutorial is how to activate and utilize the mix point link panel and the mix point link feature. So what I'm going to show you here is the set of actions you will implement or undertake within the Rekordbox DJ software. Now there is a concurrent and sometimes simultaneous set of actions that you will perform on the DDJ-FLX10 hardware, which I showed you in the previous video. But what I'm going to show you here is going to be the actions you will take within the software. I think it's more important that you understand the software because you are going to see this visually, and that's how you will know that you have performed the technique or the trick correctly. And a bit of advice here is I absolutely 100% recommend that you practice this technique at home before you try this out live, because the first time that I tried implementing this trick, even after watching a tutorial, I committed an error or two which did not allow me to successfully perform the trick. So I'm going to explain what you're doing here in the software by showing you the buttons you will press, the tabs you will press, while also explaining to you the buttons that you will press on the actual hardware. So I'm going to explain both sides of the technique, the hardware and the software, but what you will see in front of you is predominantly going to be the software. So first, when you are playing a track out live, of course, when you're in this performance mode, you're going to see the track moving from left to right. So this track right now is playing at the beginning. You can see my mouse cursor. And then you're going to have another track that is queued up. This is going to be the incoming track. So this incoming track, you are going to start to program where you're going to have your mix in point. So for me, the mix in point is going to be this second cue point, or B, as in boy or Bravo. It's this blue cue point. This is going to be the mix in point. Now, I already know in my head that the mix out point is going to be the first beat of the outro section, which if you've been watching this channel for a while, you will know that my mix out point for a lot of tracks is hot cue point number 5, which is hot cue E as in echo. It's this green cue point, and it's the first beat of the outro section. This is the mix out point. Now, what you can do while you're playing this track out live is you can use this mix point link feature to automate this transition to where it will alleviate you from having to press play and be in time with the beat and with the transition in order to transition the tracks from the outbound track to the incoming track. So effectively what you're doing is you are automating part of the process, which will economize your time, make your sets more efficient. It's going to optimize the set of techniques and tricks you must implement as a DJ and allow you to focus on other parts of your DJ set. So here's what you will do. As the track is playing, you're going to press this button right here, which is this mix point link panel feature. And this is going to show a conceptual overview of the tracks. Now, the track is still going to be playing. You see the track is still playing right here in this preview mode. You're not going to see the cursor up here. So the first action you will take is you're going to set the mix out point of the outgoing track. You're going to use the buttons on the hardware on the DDJ-FLX10 decks themselves, but you're going to use the buttons on the inbound track. So not the deck that's currently playing, but the opposite deck. You're going to press that right arrow button under mix point select, and you're going to press right until you find the mix out point. So now I've found the mix out point by pressing the mix point right deck button 2, maybe 3 times, depending on where you want to set this mix out point. And you will see the brackets. You will see the brackets on the left and right. So you effectively, on the top deck, which is the outbound track, you have this highlighted portion. And right where the 5th cue point, E or echo, the green cue point, is located, that is where the mix-up point is going to begin. Now, to set your mix-in point, which is the second track, track 2, or your inbound track, you're not going to use those same mix point arrows. You're going to press the actual hot cue. So for me, as I discussed previously, it is this hot cue B as in boy or Bravo. It is that blue cue point. So I press that, and once I press that, you notice that track 2 is now highlighted with the inbound bracket. So you see an outbound bracket on track 1, and you see an inbound bracket on track 2. That is how you know you performed the second step correctly. Now the third step is going to be to link the 2 tracks, and you have to link the 2 tracks with the flashing green link button, the mix point link button. And once that mix point link button is no longer flashing, that's how you know you performed the technique successfully. So it is a 3-step process. Finally, there is an optional 4th step that you can do, and that is you can press shift and link, and then that will make this transition more abrupt because you're going to silence or mute the section before the inbound cue point, which is effectively, you see on track 2 or deck 2, from hot cue point A to hot cue point B, that red cue point to the blue cue point, that section can be muted. So if I press shift and link, you're going to see that section go silent. You see that? It just went silent. So now what this will do is when I have the 2 tracks linked successfully, the inbound track will start playing only from B and not conduct this elongated mixing transition where you hear some beats from, in this case, for example, this extended intro section. So this is if you want to surprise the audience. If you want to have a more elongated, natural sounding transition, then do not have that portion be silent. So I'm going to show you what this looks like on the screen itself. Once it gets, now you are seeing the cursor on this mix point link preview. You see it, it's now almost at the D cue point. That's the 4th cue point. So you see the cursor on the mix point link preview, and you see it now on the track preview itself. So now I'm pressing the link button. It's now a solid link. So now you know the tracks are linked, and you're also going to see a mix point link green highlight on the jog wheel deck itself. And you see cursors on both. It means the transition's happening. So there you have it. That is how you do the mix point link feature. Now, I am going to show you also what will happen if you have this silence implemented before the mixing point. This is what this will look like. So we're gonna start to mix the track. It's silent. Okay, the track should link. I press green. So typically, how I do this, it's not mixing the tracks right now from that extended intro, but you want the volume of the inbound track to be lower than the outbound track so it's not too much of a surprise. Okay, so that is 2 versions of the mix point link feature. You have the silent feature, so if you want a more of a shocking surprise transition, or you can do the elongated natural transition, but again, it's a 3-step process. You're identifying these brackets of the outbound track and the inbound track, so the mix out point specifically and the mix in point. The mix out point is found by using the mix point link right and left arrow buttons to identify that mix out point, and then the mix in point is identified on the same deck using the hot cues, and then you press the flashing green link button. Once that flashing green link button is no longer flashing, that's how you know that the technique or the trick has been programmed successfully and you are now ready to go. And then once the outbound track reaches that designated mix out point, it's going to trigger the activation of the second track. If you're in silent mode. If you're not in silent mode and it looks like this, the track will begin playing once it reaches that first beat of the track or the first transit of the track, which in this case is hot QA. It's going to start to mix in the track gradually. So this is advances of AI, but this is definitely going to help you in your sets because you're going to start to automate certain tasks that DJs had to do manually in the past. And it's going to alleviate you from having to be in time, having to press play at certain moments. And overall, this will definitely help allow you as a DJ to maintain a very high level of energy. So this is a technique or a trick that's best performed during peak hour of DJ sets. So you have it. That is my method for incorporating the mix point link feature within my sets in order to maintain a high level of energy and optimize and make my sets that much more efficient. So if you'd like to see more videos on the DDJ-FLX10, then click here or click here, and I'll see you in the next video.